Well, welcome back to American Beef Ranch. I think we need a little downage on the camera. But anyway, sorry for the delay in your regularly scheduled, marginally acceptable YouTube content. Today I want to take some time and talk about a little thing about the farm industry and obviously give you guys an update on the farm because some cool stuff is happening. Let's get into it. Welcome back to American Beef Ranch. My name is Jesse. Thanks for watching this video. Today I want to talk about how the farm industry is full of band-aids, and I mean they are everywhere. And this comes from a previous video where I was talking about nitrogen and nitrogen itself being a band-aid, but how the industry is full of them. And I want to dive into that just a little bit more because I think it's really important that we talk about it. But first, updates on the farm. Do we have a capital partner? Not yet. We're still working on it. We hope to have something by the end of the week, but we do have some big things in the work that I don't have secured yet. And I've said I've had big things before and nothing's come of it, but I think something's actually gonna come of it this time, so that's awesome. And we're talking more farm ground, more acres, big things happening. And then finally, my mom's cows. My mom's cows sold to a nice gentleman. We appreciate you. And they're no longer available, so those cows are gone and hopefully off to a great home. And hopefully one day, us here at American Beef Ranch can rebuild an awesome herd of grass-based cattle. We're still working with the cows that are leased here. We still have those. We're still working to build those, and so maybe someday we can work into those. But anyway, band-aids. The entire farm industry is based off of band-aids, and it's really ugly. Look, here's my premise. My premise is that industry needs a customer. But the customer has to be dumb enough to be industry's customer. Like, the people that think outside the box, that do things differently, are usually the ones that end up here. Yeah, sure, they have failures. I mean, everybody has failures, right? But the ones that don't do what the mainstream tells you to do, the ones that you're usually the most successful, then why are farmers doing what the mainstream tells you to do? Like, the entire farm industry is controlled by the companies in the middle. The people selling stuff to the farmers for inputs for crops, and my goodness, my phone will not stop going off. Anyway, farmers are surrounded by people that either buy their stuff or are selling them stuff. There's not really anybody truly helping the farmer. And why? Well, the farmer is the biggest person that can financially fork out money to industry. Like, farmers can take the most loss across a large number of acres or bushels or crop or whatever, but they can also spend a lot of money per acre to get that crop up. So there's a lot of opportunity for industry to make its money. Let's talk corn and soy, for example. So the communist corn and soy companies of America, which is pretty much any of the big buyers, like you go ahead and name them, you know, Tyson, ADM, JBS, Cargill, any of those guys that buy like an astronomical amount of corn and resell it, those guys are basically completely worked off a communist system and taking advantage of the farmer by 100%. You as Americans, more and more, beef is higher. Grocery prices as a whole are higher. The profits in the middle are huge, but yet the farmer is getting paid one of the lowest price differentials in history. Corn is to the point where it is unsustainable. Soy is at the price where it is unsustainable. And guess what? There's no help coming. The prices are continuing to fall. 23 was terrible, 24 was terrible, and 2025 was going to continue to be terrible. There will be thousands of family farms that will go out of business and continue to struggle. And guess what? The big ones will keep getting bigger because they have control over the industry and the dollar. So they control price, they control demand, they control the supply. And unfortunately, farmers, unless they hold out together and sell together at a higher price, don't have any control over those people there. But the problem is farmers won't do it. We don't have much of a backbone usually, and we're honestly, most of the time, farmers aren't too smart about our decisions. I mean, we've proven it time and time again that instead of educating ourselves to do a better job, we will more likely go out and let somebody else do a job, fertility, marketing, crop sales, all of that stuff for us, which costs us more money. And if you really get down to the nitty-gritty of it, if you get away from the corn and soy and you go to the fertility companies have been selling you a Band-Aid for the last 70 years, okay? Any of these synthetic fertilizers are Band-Aids. They don't do anything for you. And then no matter how they re-engineer or rebrand or redo, whether it's chemical, whether it's fertilizer, whether it's amendments, all this stuff is Band-Aids. We never really get down to the root of the problem. And the thing is, we have more technology now than we ever have before. There is a reason you don't hear industry talking about plants and what a plant is made of. We know a plant is made of mostly carbon and oxygen. 90% of a plant is carbon and oxygen. But you don't hear the fertilizer salesman talking about it. You don't hear your fertilizer salesman talking that 78% of the air we breathe is nitrogen, and the soil has the ability to take that nitrogen in through respiration and use it in plant production. They don't talk about that. The money funneled from the big fertilizer companies going to the land-grant universities, they don't teach that in the universities. The entire system is set up for those guys to continue to have a customer. Industry must have a customer, and farmers, we got to quit being so damn stupid. You can't be this stupid and continue to buy into what industry says, because industry is only telling you something that you need to hear so that they can make a profit, because they need a customer. Without a profit, if you smartened up and learned a little bit about fertility, it would scare the crap out of the industry. Now, caveat, I do have to say I think farmers are opening their eyes a little bit to this and are getting a little bit better. The other problem is that industry just jumped on this and has jumped on the soil health bandwagon and is selling you a whole bunch more garbage, when really we never are getting to the root of the problem. People are hitting on biology, they're hitting on soil amendments, we're hitting on mycorrhizal fungi and biology and all this stuff, when they don't even have the basis set for those things to survive or thrive or do the job that the creator or God or whatever you believe intended to. You know, that's my problem with most of this. And we can sit here and argue in the comments, we can talk back and forth all day, but biology is the key, and we know that. But how do we get there? Well, you get there having the right amount of carbon, the right amount of oxygen, available calcium, available phosphorus in your soil. But on top of that, you have to have the proper structure in your soil. And the issue I have is that all these people are jumping on these bandwagons and they still haven't even met the minimum threshold for biology to survive. And that's scary, okay? And industry is going to continue to sell you biological inoculants and nitrogen stabilizing fertilizers and all this other stuff, and tell you that you're never going to get to a point where you don't have to add something. And honestly, I think you're never going to get to a point where you don't have to add something, because our soils are so screwed up that we can't even begin to get to the precipice of reducing our inputs. All these guys talk this big game. I mean, there's companies around here that talk big game. There's companies and people and things like that that have been working on soil health, using cover crops, doing all the right things for 15 years and have barely seen their numbers move on a soil test. And if you can't get a soil test right, you can't even get an F on a paper, because soil is only 45% minerals, 25% air, and 25% water. If you can't even get the minerals right on a soil test, you can't even get an F on a paper. That's how bad it is. Like, we can't even get there. We can't even get a 45% on this test that we have in farming. And God, guys, it's really been eye-opening these last few weeks. Some of the farmers I've been talking to and working with, and some of the soil tests I've seen, and some of the products I've seen other companies sell, because they're literally just stringing people along. They're not fixing the root of the problem, whether because they don't know how, or honestly they just don't want to. And I tend to believe they just don't want to. They're gonna keep telling you got to do this, this, and this, and really the answer to hard problems is usually a lot simpler than we make it out to be. And I think that is hugely important to farmers going forward. God bless you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching American Beef Ranch. We're going to be back with a whole lot more content. I'm feeling better. Our entire family had the stomach flu and we don't anymore, so that's good. We got a lot of work to do out here, and you guys are going to enjoy this.